Producers, listen up. I know just the thing that you need to step up your recording studio. You ready to hear it? The answer is more. That's right, more. At least that's what it can feel like out here in these YouTube streets. It can feel like we constantly need something new to help us with better sounds or better workflow or better production in general. And sometimes it can get overwhelming. Today I'm gonna be reacting to this video by Terrence with Petrol Media. And he's asking the question, is your studio ever really done? Is it? Let's go ahead and get into it.
Is your studio complete? Are you done building on your studio? Is there anything that needs to be added to your studio? It's an interesting conversation, so let's discuss. Now, I've been in music production for, a long time. I think I started officially in the late 90s. And really, I should want to say 2001 is really when I started because that's when I got my MPC 2000 XL. So that's when I really got into music production. But ever since then, it's always been in flux and changing. I mean, I've had small setups, I've had large setups, I've had so many different variations of my recording setup. It's not even funny. But what's always been true is that I think it's always ever evolving. Your life gives you various experiences. And because of that, you tend to shift in different ways.
You know, that's interesting. When I first started, that's right around the time that FL Studio was really starting to get its respect. A lot of producers are using things like the MPC 1000 right there on the screen. And then Logic and Reason, the respect was actually really starting to show up in the digital realm. And now you guys can walk into any major recording studio anywhere, open your laptop and have the respect of anyone who has a room full of equipment, which is such a major change that you guys don't even know, but it's incredible and I'm happy for it. That being said, you know, this kind of begs the question on the balance between, you know, evolution and growth and evolution for the sake of changing. This gets me thinking about the period of time when it came to mixing that a lot of people went from analog and then went into the digital realm. And then some people felt like there was a loss of quality, you know, everything was going digital, but then at the same time, some of that analog warmth and depth was, you know, missing. And sometimes we have a lot of these plugins that market themselves as like the LA2A or the 1176. And a lot of people don't even know what the real thing sounds like. Shout out to Evan, engineer, a very popular recording studio out here in Atlanta. We spoke about that on my Made in the Studio podcast. So make sure you guys check out that episode. He kind of gives the real deal on the digital plugins versus the real hardware units. A lot of good information on that. I'm just hoping that in the process, especially as we transition into the AI world, that we're not losing something else in this evolution like we did when we started to transition from the analog over to digital. So just food for thought, something to think about to make sure that we're actually growing and not just shifting things around. But let's go ahead and get back into the video.
It was necessary for me to have a large console to do certain types of recordings. And nowadays, that's not really necessary anymore. I think because of those things, it's always changing. So I would say that my studio is not done, even though I keep saying that it's done. You know, I think in one of the videos I said there's like two more inputs on my Behringer. Something might show up. So things are always changing and in flux. And I do like product testing. And whenever I do get a chance to test products, I will let you know that I'm testing a product from a company. I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet, outside of other YouTubers who have sent me things and let me borrow things for a little while, try it out and send it back. But if it ever happens, I will absolutely let you know that this product I did not purchase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think your studio ever gets completed. I don't think so. I think there's key pieces that never change.
You know, that's a good point. This really gets me thinking about things like the MPC sample that was recently released. A lot of the videos that I've been seeing has really been tempting me. You know, it just looks like the MPC for me to use. But at the same time, it's like, do I really need it? You know, I have my MIDI board, I have FL Studio, I have Pro Tools, I have all my plugins. Do I really need it? Or do I just want it? Do I just kind of want to play with it? Is it just another toy that I'm just going to mess around with? I have a machine in my closet and I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it in years, but it was fun to mess around with for the time being. I made some pretty fire beats that I've sold to a couple different recording artists on it. It's tricky because sometimes the products can enhance our workflow and enhance our creativity, but sometimes we could just be, kind of pulled into the FOMO, fear of missing out. Look how cool this gadget is. Listen to how fire this beat is. Don't you want one too? And we could get caught up in some of the hype and have fun with it at first, and then before you know it, it's in your closet somewhere right next to your old machine or your old MIDI board or whatever. Let's get back into the video.
But there's some that I sat with for several years, and the only reason I changed them was because I needed more inputs or I wanted to improve the audio quality. The SSL 12 is a really solid mid-range, audio interface. I have no complaints about it. I love the way it sounds. I love the way it works. Easy peasy. It pretty much gives me everything I need. And the Behringer ADAT, honestly, it's not bad. Like, everybody complains about it, but I haven't had too many issues. What I realized the problem with that unit is if you crank it too high, the noise floor comes up. It seems like the signal bleeds from one channel to the other. So the easy solution for that is to just not crank it. I tend to turn it to about 75% max, usually about 50%, but 75% max, and I don't have any sound bleeding from channel to channel. If I crank it all the way up, then I'll definitely see the issue that everybody's talking about, which tells you people have been doing that just to make videos. But at some point, I will most likely replace the Behringer ADAT with a much better ADAT unit, or I will get an improved audio interface to replace that has more inputs. So that's my point. There's times and places when you would change that. Like, at some point, I might look at the SSL 18 or maybe something from another brand, but I like SSL a lot. So trying to stay in the ecosystem. One of the biggest impacts on the studio has been the fact of moving. I've moved several times throughout the years, and it always meant restructuring, packing things up, taking things back out. And then during that time frame, I tend to evaluate the things that I need to keep and things I need to get rid of. For the longest, I haven't had an MPC, but since having one again, I'm actually really excited, and I'm happy with all the ones that I currently have. The keyboard that I've been using, the Akai MPK 249, I've had that for forever. I originally had the MPK 61, which was a great keyboard, and I've had two MPK 249s. One I sold because I thought it was broken, and then the one I bought had a similar issue at a different key, and then you saw the video on my channel of how to clean it and fix it.
That's the thing with some of our equipment. Sometimes we already have what we need, but we kind of want to step out and creep and get what we want. I kind of want that, but then you already have something stable, functional, something that works every time you get on it, but then you could step out to something that's cheaper, that looks good on the outside, but its functionality, it'll break easy, parts will come off. Man, I got different pieces of equipment here. It's just like little knobs have snapped off. We can get caught up in some of those individual features, but does the unit holistically work and do what it says it's supposed to do? That's the main thing. If you have a different knob that does this, or you hit this button and it saturates, that's cool. But, does it do what it claims that it's supposed to do, and do all the parts work? That's the thing, man. So whenever we're looking at these new products, these hardware units out there, we have to make sure that they're not just giving us cheap stuff that they feel like can be sold easily. That's something that I've heard EA Ski speak about on his channel a couple of times, is making sure that things aren't deteriorating, functionally, and then they're just adding cool colors and new little easy gizmos that just light up and make us excited really easily when we need the real deal, the strong workhorse units that are actually going to stand the test of time, that we can actually maybe pass down to our kids, our family members, things like that, because they're so valuable and they actually have strong function. Let's go ahead and get back into the video.
It's a great controller, and it does the job, and it works with Logic, it works with the One Plus, it works with everything I'm using, so no complaints there. I can even connect to any of the other MPCs and record MIDI data if there's an instrument that needs to be played. So it works out really well. But in general, I don't think anyone's studio is ever complete. I think it gets to a point of 95%. I think that's a good way to put it. You get your studio to the 95% mark, and then you just try to stop there and not change too much. And then things come in and out. There are favorites for a while. There are favorites that are great and you want to keep them. I mean, great example of that is my AKG C414 microphone. I had that one for a long time until it was broken. And for the longest, I thought there was something wrong with it. I couldn't fix it. It had this nasty hum. I just couldn't get rid of it. And I bought a Rode NT1000. I loved that mic. That mic sounds amazing, but it didn't sound as great as the AKG, but it did sound amazing for the price, especially since it's just me, right? But when I decided to buy the One Plus, I sold that and my Phantom to get the One Plus. And I don't regret it because I knew I had the AKG and I said to myself, you know what? I need to fix the AKG. And I fixed the AKG. Apparently, the cage around the capsule works as a Faraday cage. So it essentially helps to eliminate the noise in the room, the electronic noise in the room, and it stops the humming from happening. I didn't believe that until I did some research into it. And lo and behold, as soon as I connected it back together and closed up the capsule and found a way to keep it connected like that, no noise, no problems. The mic works perfect. So that's why the mic is being used again.
Oh, that's interesting. I have somewhat of a similar story. So right before I started my Made in the Studio podcast, where I interview producers, engineers like that in the music game, my Lawton audio microphone actually went out. Like the tube actually went out. And this was my first tube microphone ever. So I was pretty frustrated and I thought, you know, everything was defective and I was really upset about it. Fortunately, I was able to reach out to Lawton Audio and they sent me a tube back and I just opened up the mic, replaced the tube, and then everything is working the way it should work. That really gets me thinking about maintaining what we have, working with what we have, repairing what we have until we can get more later down the line. Let's get back into the video.
There's items that go, it's always in flux. So my answer to the whole conversation is, I think your studio gets to about 95% and then you just keep fluctuating and then you'll get down to like 80% and get back up to 95%. I don't think you ever fully complete your studio. You're always changing something about the space. So what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Do you have a complete studio? Do you have everything you need? Or is there that one more thing you're looking at? Or something you're willing to trade out to get this thing in? Like, what is your rotation of equipment? Things coming and going. How do you feel about that experience?
That's a good question. For me personally, I want a new audio interface. I want a new compressor. I want a new computer. I want to try the MPC sample, Akai. If you're watching this, Akai, send me an MPC sample and I'll give an honest review, give my honest take on it, and I'll be glad to put it right here on my channel. I feel like there's a lot. I definitely have what I need, but I just feel like there's always more. So, but let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think? Where are you at percentage-wise with your studio? Are you 50% of what you need? Are you 80%, 90%? Where exactly are you in the spectrum of the music producer studio setup? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.